I'm a bulldog, baby, and you's a fool if you wanna play me. If you talk shit, then your ass a keep calls, so you might get by one of my dogs.
Hallo zusammen, wir haben heute Michael Casciaro, den Headcoach der Ludwigsburg Bulldogs bei uns, und wir wollen ihm ein paar Fragen stellen. Wir werden das Interview jetzt erstmal auf Englisch führen. Hello Mike.
Hey.
You're the head coach of the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs?
Yes.
But I guess you played a little bit more football in the past, so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you played, where you coach, what role does American football play in your life?
Well, you know, I played in high school in Georgia, which is in the southern part of the United States, and I guess it would be the same as maybe soccer is in Brazil. It's a religion, you know, so when I went to university, they had no football, and I probably wasn't good enough to play at that level, so I really missed it. And I played a little bit in the Army in a small post that's outside of Seattle, Washington. And then I was fortunate enough to, while I was in the United States Army, be stationed here in Stuttgart in the 90s. And there I played for several teams. I played for mostly the Sindelfingen Gators, who are not a team anymore. And then I played for the Holzgerligen Twister. I usually, in those days, I played quarterback. Then I went away for a time, and I still had the desire to play. So when I came back to Germany in 2004, I played for the Kornwestheim Cougars, which was near Ludwigsburg, and I had my first experience playing against the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs. And I remember thinking then, and speaking to your old coach, Scott Reimer, that I really wanted to be on this team. But it took a few years. So after I played for Kornwestheim, I went to Albershausen Crusaders, where I played and then coached. And that's when I really started my coaching career full-time, was in Albershausen.
Okay, so finally you made it to Ludwigsburg. Tell us a little bit about your coaching staff and your experiences here with coaching the Bulldogs.
Well, first of all, this is the best team I've ever been on. The players have the most energy and the more desire to get better. And any coach that is in a situation to where the players want to be there and want to learn and want to be better as a team is the best situation of all. So it's been, for me, a great experience coaching on this team. I'm looking forward to many more years here in Ludwigsburg. I have a very strong coaching staff of both American and German coaches. My defensive coordinator is Marcus Burra, who was a former player as well on Ludwigsburg. He's a defense specialist. And then Klaus Gonzo Schaller is my line coach, and those are the big guys in the front, and he's also a very big guy. So if you come to the stadium and you see the biggest coach, that's Gonzo. The smallest coach is probably Marcus. And then I'm very lucky to have joining back to our staff Brian Atkins, who's an American coach, and I've both played against Brian, coached against Brian, and coached with Brian on other teams, so it's very exciting for me to be able to coach with him again. And I think this combination of coaches allows us to all have certain strengths that we bring to this team from our own background and experience. We have very good chemistry between us, and it allows our practices to be much more organized and much more exciting, and energy brings a lot of energy to practice.
But like you mentioned, we have German and American coaches. Mm-hmm. How difficult is it with the language? I mean, the majority are German players. Mm-hmm. You guys speak a little bit German as well. What are the difficulties and how do you handle it?
Well, I actually, you know, I don't see it as a challenge at all. To me, it's very exciting. You know, mostly I coach in English. I would say that most of the players speak English to high enough level to where they understand. And I keep it simple as much as possible. And then every once in a while I get to practice my German. So if I have to pull a player off to the side, I will usually ask them is it better in German or English, and then try as best I can at German. But it's helped my German too, so I really enjoy it. Like I said, mostly we teach or coach in English, but there are some times when we go to German, or if we need very good German, we allow the German coaches to übersetzen, if you will.
Okay, thank you. A few days ago, the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs were honored by the city of Ludwigsburg for a special achievement in the last season for winning the championship. What does that mean to you and to the team and to the club?
To me, it's very exciting, because I always tell the players, before every game, that Ludwigsburg is your hometown, and you play this game, and you want to win the game for your town. The majority of our players come from Ludwigsburg or the surrounding area, so it's very exciting for us to wear the black and gold for our Verein, and then to be able to see all the fans that come out from our city to support really what is a strange game sometimes to a new game for Germany, but this game was made for Germany. It has strategy, it has power, it has all of the characteristics that young men need in their lives, whether it's setting goals, whether it's watching out for the guy in your left and right. And being able to win a trophy like we did last year, for our hometown, and hold that trophy high and tell the fans in Ludwigsburg that we did this for them was something that was very important to me, and I know it was very important to all of our players. And I hope that we get the same support next year, and we'll try to do it again.
Okay. Talking about Germans, I think the difference between the fourth league and the third league is that we meet a lot of teams that get import players now. What we didn't face in the fourth league. What's your opinion about getting import players and having them join the team?
Well, I'm not against that. It's not my top priority. You build your team year to year really around your German players. They're the ones that are going to be there every year. There are players on our team that have been there for years. If you get an import player, you may have him 1 year, maybe 2. I don't believe that's really helpful to your team, to have a very good player in one position 1 year and then he's gone the next. To me, I want to build the whole team up, not just one player. So we do have American players on our team. These are players that are soldiers, American soldiers in the local community. I only select I hand select these guys. So I don't want guys to come out that are, real loud or want to take over the team or anything. So the guys that we have are very good players that are Americans, and not only are they good players, but they really are ambassadors of the sport. So they're excited about the game, and they want to show their German teammates how the game of football is played. So for me, in Ludwigsburg, we don't pay people to come play on our team. We're a club team. We're built around the German base of the team, and the Americans that we have that come here are here to help us play, get excited about the game, and show us some of the little technicalities of the game that help improve our game here in Ludwigsburg.
Okay, that's nice. Talking about American football is a pure American sport. How do you see the development of American football in Germany, and especially the region of Stuttgart, since it's been more and more teams over the last years?
Well, I think it's been really improving, and the other thing that's exciting to me is not just the quality of play, but the amount of fans that I've seen showing up at these games. In the Stuttgart area alone, there are about 8 teams in all different levels, all the way up to the GFL, just in the Stuttgart area, including Ludwigsburg. So it's exciting to me. I played here 20 years ago, and the game was not as good. There weren't many fans at all at the games. In fact, mostly none, just maybe some family members. And to see how it's progressed in 20 years to where, we'll have 1,000 fans at our games, you know, and they understand the game, which is the most important thing. So, you know, they know when something good happens and they're cheering, etc. And the quality of play too, and players. You know, when I first started playing football in Germany, it was more like a, you know, you would have the guys that were rebels, you know, that in America would be skateboarders or motocross riders that would want to come out and play an extreme sport, and they would come to football. Now you're seeing regular athletes, you know, that may not, you know, maybe soccer or handball or basketball is just not enough for them, and they want a more physical sport. So you're seeing big, fast, strong young men coming out to play football. It's exciting to watch. It's exciting to participate in, and I love coaching these guys.
All right. Like we said, the team was honored yesterday from the city of Ludwigsburg. Most of us couldn't be there because we're right now at Trainingscamp in Freudenstadt. How satisfied are you with the achievements, and give us a little information about Trainingscamp?
Well, what we do in training camp is we bring the players away from home, and we put them in a dormitory in a sports school, and then we have very intensive practices a couple of times a day. So we had 2 practices today. It's very cold down here in the Black Forest, I will say. So I would say the temperature was below 0 all day today. But we were out in the cold for about 6 hours today on 2 different practice sessions. They were probably the 2 best practices that I've had so far with Ludwigsburg. So I think our team has improved even again this year. Even though we're going to the Regionalliga, you know, I've looked at all of the films of the teams we're going to play, and I don't see much of a difference. So I really think that we have a good opportunity here if we keep practicing like we are down here in Freudenstadt. I think that we will improve quite a bit for this year's season.
Let's talk about the future this year's season. Where do you see the other teams? Who do you see moving up maybe to GFL2? Where do you see the Bulldogs at the end of the season?
Well, you know, it's hard to say because a couple of the teams that I thought would have been favored to win, and there are several teams that are very good that were in the Regional League last year. So they're all pretty even. Badener and Montabaur were very good teams last year. They finished near the top of the division. I think they had some import players, and you know, I'm not sure they're going to be with them again this year. So I'm not sure what they're going to look like. Like I said, I've looked at the film. I think that we can compete with them. So we'll see how they do. We had a couple good teams come down from the GFL, and what was different this year in GFL2 was normally the team that comes down may win 1 game all year. These teams both won 4 or 5 games, so they're good teams, and they came down to our league. Both of them stand a good chance of going back up. So those 4 teams I just mentioned all have a very strong chance. What I will say is I've played against a couple of them in the past. I'm very familiar with them. I think that you know, the difference this year will be what happens on the training plots. So you can have a big name, you can, you know, win all the games you want last year, but what really comes down to is how many players you have in training, how intense and organized your training is, because you're going to play in the game like you do in practice. So I would not count any of the teams out in the Regional League, including the Bulldogs.
Okay. Let's talk about 2 teams that we met in the last few years a couple of times. Böbling and Beers 2 years ago beat the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs twice. Holzgalling and Twister is a team that we played a lot 3-4 years ago, but they moved up all the way to GFL2 but came now back to the 3rd league. What's your opinion about them and the games that are facing us?
I pride myself, even as a player or a coach, in going against teams that may have beaten me or us in the past. It makes me try harder. It makes me work a lot harder. and there's a pride issue there too. So when I was a player, if I played across of someone that I knew was better than me, I made sure that I hit him as hard as I could every play. As a coach, it's about being focused in on that game and playing as hard as you can and coaching as hard as you can and calling the correct plays every play. I really look forward to playing both of them again. So far in my football career, I think I've been able to beat every team that has beaten me. And I can tell you that against those two teams, one of which I played on years ago, we will be giving it 110% to try to get some wins from them.
Okay. What do you think are the big strengths of the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs this year?
Well, what's different this year, I think, in the Bulldogs than in other years is this year we're strong everywhere. So, there are some places on our team where, if a starting player is hurt or goes away, we have some problems. But if you line up the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs, player for player, I think we're very strong everywhere. I think our defense is going to be stronger this year against the pass than we were last year, and that will be helpful in the Regional League. At the receiver, wide receiver, and running back positions, we have some very strong players. Last year we had one very good American who made a lot of touchdowns, Marquise Walker. This year we've got some more German receivers that came in. One very good one, Janosch, that just came in from another team who I think is really going to help us a lot. So we have a lot more strength at the receiver so we can pass more. We've been training some running backs that I think will give us some depth to Toby Preuss. And Toby, last year made over 1,000 yards in just 7 games and something like 18 touchdowns. So we want to get him a little help. I think we have that now. At the quarterback position, we're still very strong with Salva Garatini. He had 22 touchdown passes last year. He has been very, very focused this year, much more intense than last year. At the defensive positions, of course, we have you at one, holding down one side, but we have Basti Sturm. We've got Vale Toma in the middle. We've got Hannes playing safety. So I see that we're strong in almost every position, at least 1 or 2 players deep. The other thing that I think is a strength, which is probably the biggest strength, is this year in practice we've had more players come to our training sessions, and we have a lot more players now on our team than we did last year. And I always say the football math is if you have over 35 players in practice like we did today, then definitely only good things can happen.
Okay. You talked about the quarterback. You have a very special and very strong bond with a quarterback. Why is that so important, and what does that give to the team? Well,
I think for me personally, I have a bond with the team captains. So I have 4 team captains, 2 on defense and 2 on offense. What makes it special for the quarterback is that was my position. So I played quarterback for over 20 years growing up and here in Germany. So quarterback is a very special position to me. I know what it takes to be a quarterback. And a quarterback to me on the offense is a coach on the field. So he is the general on the field who's directing the troops. And he has to be able to read my mind. I call every play into him. He has to know exactly what it is I'm thinking, and if he needs to change a play, he needs to know how I would change it or move things around. So I think that's a special relationship. The other thing that's important about the quarterback position and the things that I find where I can be very close to Sal is we have a lot in common. He plays the game the same way that I played. I think he's better than I ever was, but he plays with that intensity. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants to win the game, and I know what it takes to motivate him, to excite him, to make him want to play harder. And that's an exciting thing for me when I can experience motivating, the quarterback to play harder and make a big play, or get the players to do something big on the field is very, very intense, and I enjoy that a lot.
All right. Well, then I want to thank you for the first interview that we did on the Ludwigsburg Bulldogs. Ja, euch vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen. Für weitere Fragen, Informationen, checkt uns auf Facebook, Ludwigsburg Bulldogs oder ludwigsburgbulldogs.de im Web für Heimspieltermine und weitere Infos. Vielen Dank. Ciao.